Yeah, no, first of all, it is the 20th report we're doing, so it's quite a milestone for us in terms of how we work on global risks. And as is tradition, it shapes also the agenda for the annual meeting in Davos, which we will be having next week under the theme Collaboration for the Intelligent Age. But it is one of the inputs. We have many more initiatives that are feeding into the program at the annual meeting. The results are over 3 time horizons, and we do that every year like that, and it is based on surveying over 900 experts and over 1,000 business leaders from around the world across sectors. I think what is quite striking overall is that we have a shift, uptick in terms of decreased optimism or less optimism around the future overall, the outlook. About 4% more people are less optimistic about the outlook in the context of the different risks. And it is an uptick, and last year it was also an uptick. So we see maybe a trend around, at least based on the data, how people react to some of the uncertainty that we're seeing in the world economy.
So if I understand you correctly, I just would like to put it perhaps in a shorter summary. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that respondents are even more concerned now going into this year than they have been in the past. But what is making them more concerned now than before?
I think the big climber in our rankings in terms of the severity of risks and the likelihood is state-based armed conflict. This is the top risk, at least based on the data, for the current time frame, 2025. We are all seeing a more competitive geopolitical environment, and unfortunately, we are seeing a record number of conflicts around the world, and so we assume, of course, that some of those data and perceptions are related to. We have, of course, the unfortunate war going on in Ukraine. We have conflict in the Middle East. We have humanitarian emergencies in Sudan, uncertainties humanitarian-wise in Somalia, etc. So this is what we are seeing in the data and some of the attendant analytical pieces. What we are also seeing is the risk of misinformation and disinformation being quite high up on the risk perception survey, particularly for the 2-year horizon up to 2027. And it is the second year running that misinformation and disinformation is ranked that way for the 2-year horizon.
Right.
We saw, of course, for example, last year, a record year in terms of how many people went to the ballot boxes. And of course, there was a lot of attention being paid to the role of misinformation, disinformation in societal polarization. So this is also something that is quite relevant for the data that we're tracking.